Going on YouTube? So I will be changing gears here from the Bronco for a while and documenting any upgrades that I do to the newest car to the fleet, taking what's already available in the 4Runner and morphing it into what's available in the Raptor. Well, I finally found the time to start working on this vehicle. So what I want to do, let's get this front bumper disassembled and let's start working on this front fascia. We want to get the new headlights in here, new fog lights. Need to take this valance apart, get the new grille in there. The Raptor lights will go in here, so stand by, I'll get this set up. Let's start tearing this thing apart. Well, that took much longer than I anticipated, but I guess the first try is always the hardest. So there's a bunch of videos out there you can follow, show you on YouTube how to get that thing off. It's a bunch of plastic pop rivets and a few 10mm screws, and just make sure you get the fog lamps unhooked. But cool. Now that I have that off, I need to take out that front valance, and that's just going to be done undoing some more plastic pieces. So we get that bad boy off, and here comes the rain. So let me get that set up. I'll talk more about it. All right, and just like that, that lower valance is off. I need to get that scuffed up. I'm going to probably use anywhere from 400 to 600 grit. Scuff that up pretty nice, get it ready for primer, and then we're going to paint it hot rod black, which is a satin black single stage. You can kind of see the plastic itself looks to be black already underneath, so that's an added bonus. But really, I mean, if it gets chips in it, it gets chips in it. I'll just get a different bumper for it at that point. Just want to get the look, see how it turns out with this satin black. Excited for that. But this was held on with this cornucopia of plastic, so they just snap in there and those teeth lock in behind tabs. And then we've got the front bumper up here on the stand. We're going to get rid of the Toyota symbol, put our garnish on here, get this whole thing cleaned up, get the mesh in here fixed, change out these fog lights. So got to just get parts, swap them out, and clean this thing up. So let's get to it. For our headlight assembly, it looks to be 3 bolts. So we got one here, one up top, and then this bracket that helps hold the front bumper in. I think this one right here should get the last bolt for it. If not, we'll find out the hard way. But we're going to take those apart and disconnect. There should be, I believe, three plugs to it. We got 2 back here and then one for the side marker inside here. So let's get those out there and then swap them out for the nice new fancy ones. As you can see, we've got the left headlight in. Need to go over here and put the right in, but I wanted to just stop the time lapse to go and show exactly what I was doing. The Morimotos are just 100% plug and play. The 4 hookups here. I had initially stated there's 3. There's 4. They each coincide with their kind of own specific shape, if you forget, so they're not that hard to mix up. And there's a screw that goes up top here, so this shroud kind of gets moved out of the way. So that's a screw there. There's a screw here. There's one here, and then that last one you may not think of right away is in this bracket that holds the front bumper on, and that's an actual metric threaded bolt. So that one I threw a little bit of anti-seize on. I went ahead and put some dielectric grease in these and in the adapters on the housing itself for good measure. So you just get these positioned and hook them up. Once I get these both in here, then I'm gonna have to hook up the fuse that runs for the daytime driving lights, and I'll route that around. So let me get this next one in, and then we'll talk about the rest of the wiring for these lights. This is the injector fuse that I was speaking of. These 2 prongs here will go into each headlight, and then the fuse itself gets routed across the radiator support and will go into the fuse box up here. So I didn't show the connection on this headlight. I'm going to hook it up, but just for reference, we have 5 separate plugs here. This one, this little guy here being the DRL. So I'm going to hook that up on this left side. It's already installed. Hook it up here and then get the fuse routed. But as you can see, all 5 come out of the back here. It's plug and play. I didn't touch this because I wanted my turn signal to be solid. I didn't want the sequential, but you would manipulate that if you wanted it to be changed. And let me get the fuse relay routed here and show you what that looks like when that's all finished. Alright, that might have been overkill, but just to show you what I did, back in here, let's get some light, dang. Can't really see too great. There's a connection down here which I made, and I ran it in behind the washer bottle fill, and there's a part of the harness that runs up here and goes underneath this front section of the bumper, and it's tucked up in here and zip tied. So what I did is I piggybacked on top of this, and I'm going to zip tie it up along, and it runs. So these pieces here are actually the zip ties holding it in place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie it in there, and I was able to fish it in so that it runs the whole way. Got it to pop out here. That was the hardest part, is just getting it up through here. There's no good way to get at it. And then you can see that I get the same harness down in here, so I can easily filter that back up this way to get it to the fuse box. So I wanted it to be pretty. You don't have to do it that way. That's just so it's concealed. But that was probably the longest part here. I just have to hook it into the headlight, and that's about it. So stand by. Alright, so there you have it. Headlights are in. Install is very straightforward. 4 bolts, 5 connections. But as I had pointed out, you know, the routing of the wires, however you want to do that, it's up to you. You get them to come through to this side. Here I have everything hooked up. Now all I need to do is, you can see I have this extra wire coming out here. So I need to pop off the top here of this relay and look for the appropriate, that's in there, the negative cable kind of has this locked in place, but I need to get this off. So I'll show you in a second here where I'm going to plug it in, and then just clean up this wire. Alright, so I've isolated the fuse that has to come out, It is, so you got your relays over here. This is, for reference, battery, fuse box. Got these two big relays here, and then there's a stack here of, man, the lighting is just terrible today. Just a stack of 4 here, and it's called on here, inject. You know, test your headlights out. There's directions that show you how to adjust them. That's simply done by, there's a screw in here. I don't know if I'm gonna get enough light there. You can kind of see it. There's one here, and then there's one underneath that'll get the pitch of the light, and then the yaw would be the other screw. Maybe I have that backwards. Doesn't matter. You can see whenever you turn them, but very simple. So I'm excited to get those turned on, tested. Now I just need to get the fog lamps in. I got the front bumper over there ready to go. Got to get this scuffed up and repainted, and then get the front bumper assembly all together. So should be all in a good day's work. So stand by, show you this fuse, and then we'll move on to the next thing.